Yay, we're live. Hi, Carrie. Are you here now? Hi, guys. Welcome. Welcome to our Summer Friday live stream. Come on in, everyone. Don't be shy. Hey, Zach. Is it actually a Summer Friday for anyone? Like, is anyone on an actual Summer Friday? I'm not, but I like the idea. I think it's a big thing in New England. Oh, wait a minute. Could you guys hear me? I just realized I didn't have my mic that I can. Let me know if you guys can hear me now. I think I was going through computer before. Everything is frozen. Everything is literally frozen. Could hear you the whole time. Okay. I just didn't have my external mic plugged in, but I do now. So hopefully that didn't mess anything up. I'm jacked into our internet, so we shouldn't have any issues with lagging or anything. Zach, it's summer and it's Friday. I don't quite understand the question. Okay, maybe this is an East Coast thing. So on the East Coast, particularly in New York, there's a thing called Summer Fridays where people get half the day off on Fridays. And I think it was hypothetically created so that people could get started on their weekend travel over the summer, like driving to the Hamptons or wherever else they might be going. It's kind of just to give people a head start on the weekend. At Paul's former job, the company was based in New York, and I can't remember if they got half days off on Friday or they just got like one Friday off a month, and that was Summer Friday. But oh, Carrie, you're frozen. Oh, yeah, wait, because you're in Australia. Duh, that always blows my mind. And I think when I did my first live stream in January, it was summer for you. And I was like, that's crazy. And now it's the opposite. So honestly, after the week we've had with the heat wave, the heat dome, I wouldn't really mind, I guess, if things were frozen. Oh, wait, let me put a welcome, my welcome message. Let me know where you guys are joining from if you'd like. I already know where most of you guys in the chat are joining from, but it's always just a fun thing. Where's the wave emoji? Here it is. Okay. Pin it. Carrie, like my car is frozen. Oh my God, what a misunderstanding. That was quite a misunderstanding. I was like, oh no. My biggest nightmare that my live stream is frozen. The real thing. Hello. Where did you get that little emoji from? I've never seen that before. Zach, you've never heard of Summer Fridays. We could use that here. Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool. It definitely, I don't know, it should be a thing everywhere, but also I think it's like on the East Coast, summer is so precious because it's so short. It goes by so quickly, and the rest of the year is freezing. Carrie, thank you so much. Okay, wait a minute. Paul, you need to bring me a fork. Oh my gosh, I'm unprepared. I love you too, Carrie. I really appreciate that. Okay, and bring me up the special guest. Bring me the special guest too. You guys, we have a special guest joining. I'm so excited for this. Let me catch up. Hello from Northern California. Yep. Zach in Northern California. Oh, I can heart your thing. Is that new? I've never seen that before. Do you guys want the fork first or the special guest? All right. Okay, we'll do the fork first. Thank you, Bambi. Thanks, Carrie. What did I do last time? Part of your world. Oh my God, so much fun. Okay. It really brings me a lot of joy. Zach says we've got a week of over 100 for a week. Oh, yeah, summer is like winter in terms of staying inside. I feel that. Um, yeah, Carrie, I think that Harding thing is new. Should I bring in the special guest? Oh gosh. Yeah, Zach, I feel like when I lived in California, the hottest months were always September. Like September was always the hottest month. Maybe that was just in LA. It was like September and sometimes October. And then everyone would always act shocked by it every year. They'd be like, it's September. What's going on? And I'd be like, every year I've lived here, it's been so hot in September. Like the summer comes later in California. I feel like Carrie says special guest. Okay, let's bring in the special guest. Weather is nice in LA. I'm further from the coast. Oh yeah, that does make a difference. All right, guys, we've got a very special guest joining us. Oh my God. And it is this enormous watermelon that we bought, Paul and I bought on the side of the road yesterday. Can you, like, is this translating how big this is? It literally, I'm having trouble holding it. Like, there's my head, and there's the, like, this watermelon is the size of, I think, 4 human heads. What could be more summer Friday than this? Basically, there's this guy that sells these monstrous watermelons on the side of the road near where we live, and he sells them out of this huge truck, like imagine like a medium-sized U-Haul, just open and just like jammed with watermelons. And last summer, Paul and I were driving, and we're going to the health food store, and we see this guy on the side of the road who we were like, what's going on here? Is this guy like selling something? Like, what is this? And then as we were driving by, we're like, were those watermelons? And we were so intrigued. And then a couple weeks later, I saw an article that was like profiling this man who sells watermelons on the side of the road. He gets them from, he drives down to Georgia every few months in the summer, gets these enormous watermelons, which are apparently really good. and he drives them back to Connecticut and he sells them. And there were 2 sizes. And as you could tell, we opted for the bigger size, which was $25. I don't know. Do you guys think that's a good deal? So this just brought me a lot of joy, and I figured that you guys would appreciate it. It is so heavy, it's out of control. But anyway, that was our special guest. And to be completely honest, I don't like watermelon, which a lot of people have a very hard time accepting or understanding. I'm out of breath. I just don't like the texture of it, but I like it like blended or juiced. I like it if it's liquefied. I just don't like the texture of watermelon. Big old soil, baby. Well, that's fucking massive. How heavy is it? It's unbelievably heavy. We don't have a scale. Paul, I think Paul guessed 12. Like, no, I think Paul guessed about 20 pounds. I don't know what that is in kilograms, though, Carrie. Guess the price and you get a slice. Yeah, seriously, I wish I could give you guys all a slice. Frankenmelons, if it tastes good. Can't eat watermelon either. Okay, at least you can relate to that, Carrie. The guy pointed out it still has its umbilical cord. Yeah, that was really weird. I was like, what is going on? What are you talking? Wait, let me see. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he like picked one. They picked one out of like the middle of the truck, out of the middle of like this enormous pile. And Paul made a joke that the all the watermelons would come tumbling down, which the guys didn't laugh at. But yes, here is the umbilical cord. It's very strange, very strange. Well, I'll let you guys know how it is. All right, Paul, you can come and take it whenever you want. I'm like, that literally made me start to sweat. That was like a workout. Close to 20 pounds, Paul says. It would probably break the scale. Yeah, I couldn't put it on like my kitchen scale. I think it would definitely break. I have a kitchen scale. It's your workout for the day. Exactly. Holla, boss man. Hopefully you got to see the tail end of the watermelon. The umbilical cord needs to be brown. If it's still green and flexible, it's unripe. Ooh, good call. The cat is now sniffing the watermelon, has no idea what it is. Paul says when I put it down, the whole floor just oh my God, it's hilarious. All right, guys. Well, that really tickled me. And hopefully it did for you as well. What could be more summery than a watermelon? So, all right. So let's get into, I have some topics, kind of just casual, some topics here. Some of them are a little more intense, and we will get into those in a little bit. But if you guys have anything that you would like to share or chat about, feel free to let me know. But I'm going to put this as the first topic, and I'm going to pin it. So make fruit punch in the shell. It looks so summery. It really does. So I don't know if you guys saw this. Some of you may have already seen it on my Instagram, but Paul and I went to a vegan restaurant opening in Connecticut this past week on Tuesday night, which was really exciting. And I wanted to talk about that because I feel like in multiple other live streams, we have talked about how many restaurants have closed down in the last couple years, vegan restaurants specifically. I mean, all restaurants, and I have shared that there has been quite a few vegan restaurants in Connecticut that have shut down over the last couple of years. So seeing that a new one was opening was very exciting. Easy. And so yeah, so I had been seeing that this new vegan restaurant was opening, and I almost couldn't believe it. Like I was very surprised to see, and there wasn't a ton of information about it online. So anyway, I had looked at their menu online. It looked really good. And so I followed them on Instagram. They followed me back, and then they invited me to come to their opening. And so we went on Tuesday, and it was really fun. And the food was good. It was kind of their whole vibe is that it's a fast casual, quick and convenient, inexpensive, like very reasonable prices. And they do small bites, things like sliders and stuff like that. And it's just a cool concept. And they have a drive-through, which is, he claimed that it's the first vegan drive-through in the country. I don't know if that's true. I remember in LA, there was a chain called Plant Power Fast Food. I'm pretty sure they had a drive-through. And then there's the Amy's drive-through, but Amy's isn't totally vegan. So I don't know that it's the first one, but it's definitely, I'm sure, one of very few, if there are others. And yeah, so it was just, it was some good news, and it was hopeful to see a new place opening. And the town that it's opening in, it's called Oxford, Connecticut. I had never been. I had never even heard of this town before. I feel like I'm constantly learning of towns in Connecticut that I've never heard of. And apparently, according to a bunch of vegans, Connecticut vegans, it's kind of a vegan desert area of Connecticut. So it's very exciting that this place is opening there. Very happy for them. It was a bit of a drive for us, like 35 minutes, but not terrible. And Yeah, Zach Plant Power has a drive-through. Yeah, exactly. And I feel like there's a couple others. I feel like back a few years ago, I was constantly hearing of like there's a new like vegan drive-through that's planning on opening, but then I would never hear anything else about it. I'd hear these stories. Carrie said, I'm so jealous. Yeah, I mean, for the people who live near there, I think it's going to be a game changer. Just like after work, go through the drive-through, pick up a couple sliders, salad, um, and it was very organized. Like usually when there's a new restaurant opening, and sometimes vegan restaurants in particular, things can be a little disorganized or feel a little chaotic. And the guy who's opening it, this is his first time opening a restaurant. He had a food truck of this restaurant before, but he they seem to really know what they're doing. And so yeah, it's opening on Saturday, and I'm excited to hear what all the other Connecticut vegans think of it. There's no vegan restaurants near you, Carrie. One burger place does a couple of vegan burgers, and Domino's does vegan pizza. That's it. Yeah, that sounds rough. I'm guessing you do a lot of cooking at home. I'm guessing that you are a very talented home cook. I have an ice pack on my lap, which is a little totally forkable secret that I oftentimes have an ice pack on my lap while I'm recording a video to keep me cool. And in my last Good Vegan News that I filmed during the heat wave, I had it's like a hangover ice pack that you're supposed to put on your head, but I had it stuffed down the back of my pants so that it was up against my back to try to keep me cool. And I don't think it really did that much to keep me cool, but I'm always cooking and I'm just about to put down my crochet and go cook, LOL. That's so cool that you crochet. That seems like a very great hobby. I used to knit. Like I learned to knit when I was younger, but I didn't keep it up. But I feel like that's a great hobby. Are you crocheting anything in particular? All right, guys. So I'm literally still out of breath from the watermelon. That's probably not normal. Okay, so this is an article. I don't know if Cinnamon is here. Cinnamon, if you're here, make yourself known. But Cinnamon sent this to me, and I thought it was a good one to discuss because it just came up in my most recent Good Vegan News video. But there was an article about McDonald's failed plant-based tests in the US market. So let me share the article. Here it is. It was in Yahoo Finance. I just make blankets. I'm boring. That's cool though. Keep you warm during those Australian winters. So here's the article. And I literally just mentioned in my most recent Good Vegan News how McDonald's UK is doing a vegan ice cream test right now. And I remarked upon how many vegan options McDonald's has in other countries, particularly in the UK, compared to the US. And I actually, when I found the UK McDonald's menu online, I was actually pretty shocked because there's so many more vegan options than I even realized. There's like 4 different entree options that are vegan as is, not like gotta get it without this and without this. There were like multiple sides, there were, multiple desserts, and think like in the US, things like the fries aren't vegan, but in the UK they are. And in the US, when they did the McPlant test, they used real mayo and real cheese. In the UK, they used vegan of all those things. So 0 McDonald's options in Australia. That's interesting. So maybe the UK is, just unique in that way. But here's what the article says. It's a short little article, but a top McDonald's Corp executive reiterated that the company's previous US test of plant-based meat didn't work out and added that the burger chain's diners don't go to its restaurant for salads. I found that kind of interesting because a veggie burger is not a salad. That doesn't make any sense. Like, if he had said, diners don't come here for plants, even would have been more accurate, or vegan meat would have been more accurate. But diners don't come here for salads, so therefore we don't have a veggie burger. Like, what? A test of its McPlant burger in San Francisco and Dallas, quote, was not successful in either market, Joe Erlinger, the chain's U.S. chief, said at the Wall Street Journal's Global Food Forum in Chicago. The test wrapped up in 2022, the company said following the remarks. U.S. consumers aren't looking for McPlant or other plant-based proteins from McDonald's, he added. The company has said plant-based food has fared better in European markets. Erlinger said that if people really want salads from McDonald's, we will gladly relaunch salads. But what our experience has proven is that's not what the consumer is looking for. Instead of plant-based options, McDonald's is investing in its chicken offerings as consumers lean toward that protein. The company sells more chicken than beef these days, he added. That remark is giving the meme that's like, do you guys have veggie burgers? And then the server's like, is a turkey burger okay? And then the person's like, is Monopoly money okay? Like, instead of plant-based options, we're offering chicken. Oh, great. Okay. He said some of it is driven by affordability. Chicken is less expensive to produce. And so for a consumer that's looking for more affordable food, chicken is a great option right now. I'm guessing he means as opposed to beef. So that's the whole article. Just kind of like, it was recently posted. So it's interesting to see that in the wake of some of the discussions some of the remarks I've made in my videos. But I do think it's interesting. I was saying this to Cinnamon. It's like, I'm not denying, like, if they say there's, like, a lot of times, like, why aren't there options for the US? And then the companies are like, well, there's no demand here. People wouldn't buy it if we put it on. And maybe that's true. But then it's like, why? We got to figure out why. And as far as the McPlant is concerned in the US, I know a lot of vegans were, frustrated that they're doing this vegan burger, but then it has real cheese and mayo. And so you're just getting like a dry burger, an incomplete menu item, basically. And so I think that has something to do with it. Like, in the UK, and one of my friends who was there recently was telling me, like, you could just go to the McDonald's kiosk and hit vegan, and then all the items come up and you just push the item that you want. It's just so much easier. You don't have to worry about, like, talking to someone and something not being right and modifying it. So I think that has something to do with it. But let's see what you guys think. Natalie asked, is your man vegan too? He is. Yes. Zach said McDonald's is the closest fast food from where I live, but for me, it might as well be a vacant lot. Totally. I totally agree. And so, yeah, I just thought that was interesting. Black Phoenix, hey. Guys, I have no clue what's going on here, but don't forget to subscribe. Yes, I reuse this again. Thank you so much, my friend. I love that. Don't forget. I should start saying that in my videos. Don't forget to subscribe. All right, let's move on to our next topic. Let me paste it here. This one's pretty funny, and then it will naturally lead us to a different topic that's a little more serious, but ooh, someone's playing Ashanti. This guy just drove by on a scooter and he's blasting Ashanti featuring Ja Rule. I'm not always there when you call, but I'm always on time. That is Summer Friday. That, to me, screams Summer Friday. Laura, welcome. Laura says she lives in Finland and it looks like McDonald's has 3 fully vegan burgers here. Awesome. No desserts, though. They discontinue their smoothies. Frowny face. Well, that's pretty crazy to have 3 fully vegan burgers. That's 3 more than we have. I was giving, I think it's Adrian, one of my UK subscribers commented on my video about McDonald's vegan options in the UK, and he's based in the UK, and he said something like, "Oh, it's a bummer because said something like they used to have milkshakes and they took them away," and then I was like US vegans, like our only options are apple slices and apple pie. UK vegans, like we've got 4 entree options, 3 side options, and 2 dessert options, but I wish we had 1 more dessert option. And I was just kind of kidding around, but it's true. Like UK vegans are a little spoiled, getting a little spoiled over there. And I'm just jealous is what it comes down to. My favorite summer song is Summer Breeze. Who sings that, Zach? I don't know if I'm familiar with that. I have a genuine question. How are you finding getting iron on a vegan diet for a woman? It seems much harder than for men. I live in Denmark. There's sadly no McDonald's options here other than fries and apples. Interesting. Well, the fries in the US aren't even vegan. Black Phoenix, that's a good question. I'm actually probably due to get my blood checked. Like I haven't had a blood nutrition panel done in a while. In the past, I've never had issues with iron. The only things I've had issues with are D3, which a lot of people have issues with. Like most people have a D3, struggle with D3. But I did earlier this year, I did suspect that I was getting low in iron because I was getting a little like extra fatigued and lightheaded around my period. And I started taking an iron supplement. I started taking the blood builder supplement from Mega Foods. I think it's Mega Foods. And I took that for like 30 days. But then I was just like really focusing on eating a lot more high iron foods like lentils and legumes. And also, people say iron and vitamin C helps iron absorption. So whenever I can, having vitamin C with my lentils, and I do need to go get checked out. So maybe ask me after that if that helped. But I'd love to hear from other vegan women in the chat who have, struggled with that and successfully, balanced it out. Add lemon to your greens, higher in iron absorption. Oh, another thing is that people say cooking in a cast iron pan really helps. Like on the vegan Reddit, I'll see there's a lot of posts about this on the vegan Reddit, so that might be a good place to check for people who have had success. Why does this one hair keep getting like it's like comb over vibes? Let me just separate it. Okay. So cooking in a cast iron pan, and then there's something you can buy. It's called like an iron fish or something, and it's a little fish-shaped piece of iron, and you can put it in like water when you're boiling things like pasta and like cooking things in water, and it infuses your food with more iron. And a lot of people, like tons of people, upvoted that and were like, "I use this too. It's amazing." So definitely check that out. Seals and Croft, Summer Breezes from the 70s. Ooh, I'll have to check it out. I've been feeling a little older, a little more old school music lately, maybe because I'm getting older. The reason women live longer than men is lower lifetime iron due to menstruation. Just saying. Interesting. Nuts are high in iron. The Real Thing says, yeah, I've been reading through all. Shame the iron fish isn't available where I live. Oh, that's too bad. Maybe something similar. Or maybe the cast iron option. Okay, so let's get into this next story. So you guys have probably heard me talk about Nikki Glaser before. I'm a big fan of her podcast. I would say I'm not as much a fan of like her stand-up, although I think she's very funny, but I really enjoy listening to her podcast. I'm drinking kombucha GT's Trilogy, which is basically the only flavor I drink anymore. Love it. So yeah, I was listening to her podcast, and some of you guys may have seen she did a recent ad for PETA where she's naked, and the ad was she's like on stage holding a microphone, and it said it wasn't really an ad, it was like a campaign. And the text said, "Never steal someone else's material." So that was really a cool thing to see. Very clever, very creative. And so I was listening to her podcast, and she was talking about how, and it's, if you guys want to check it out, it's the Nikki Glaser podcast. It's from the June 13th episode number 446. And this conversation starts around the 28-minute mark. So PETA asked her to, PETA is a shareholder in SeaWorld. So they do that so that they can like ask questions at the shareholder meetings and put pressure on them to, stop exploiting animals. And so basically what they were doing is, for an upcoming shareholder meeting, I'm not sure if it's happened yet, but they were getting a bunch of celebrities to write questions for then the PETA reps to read at the shareholder meeting. And they'll be like, on behalf of this celebrity. And so they asked Nikki to do that. And they wrote the thing for her, and then they sent it to her and were like, we just would love your approval, or if you want to make any changes, and then if you feel comfortable signing off on it. So she read what they had originally sent to her, and I'll read it to you guys, and then I'll read you what she wrote back to them, how she edited it. But this is what they wrote for her. Some funny business happening behind me. So they wrote, "My name is Nikki Glaser, and I have a question on behalf of PETA. Comedians have made a variety of jokes about SeaWorld throughout the years, myself included, whether on late night or Saturday Night Live or in a comedy special. Audiences laugh at these jokes because they agree with them. We laugh because we collectively recognize the absurdity of forcing dolphins and whales to live and die in tanks when they're meant for something as expansive and brilliant as the ocean. By the way, the ocean is a big body of water where sea life thrives, in case any SeaWorld execs haven't heard of it." And Nikki commented that this sentence sounded like a 19-year-old brat wrote it. It goes on, "If you impregnated a human against their will, forced their child to live in a bathtub for their entire life, and made them entertain you, you'd go to prison. So my question is, when, not if, but when will SeaWorld stop forcibly impregnating dolphins and whales and sentencing them to this miserable fate? It would be a joy to leave SeaWorld off my set list." So it was a pretty good letter, pretty funny, pretty impactful. And then she decided to punch it up a little, add some more jokes, and this is what she sent back to them. "My name is Nikki Glaser, and I have a question on behalf of PETA. I'm sure you've noticed the uptick in comedians making jokes referencing SeaWorld in the past 10 years. I actually just referenced you guys last month in my latest special. In case you didn't see it, the joke I told was about how I am experiencing vaginal dryness lately. I said that I longed for my 20s when I was constantly wet. Then I said it's because in my 20s I worked at SeaWorld, and animal cruelty turns me on." So knowing Nikki Glaser, she always does these like misdirections in her comedy. So she's probably like, I long for my 20s when I was constantly wet, and that's because I worked at SeaWorld, and animal cruelty turns me on. So it's like a unexpected turn. I haven't watched her latest special, but I'm guessing it went something like that. It continues, "I'm sure you're not laughing, but I will tell you the audience there that night really enjoyed it. And the reason they laughed was because what I said is true. Everyone knows what you're up to over there. We know that you force dolphins and whales to live and die in your tiny, tragic tanks when they're meant for something as expansive and brilliant as the ocean. I don't think all of you are bad people. I bet you love animals, and deep down you know what you do is wrong, but you're blinded by the profit you make off of people who come to see your shows who don't yet know the truth. Oh, but they will know it eventually, and they'll stop coming. I can't wait for when they do. But until then, you have the chance to do the right thing by the animals you claim to love so much. Please, for the love of God, stop imprisoning and forcibly impregnating dolphins and whales and sentencing them to a miserable fate. I'd love to leave your company out of my jokes, thereby allowing me to focus on other pressing humanitarian issues like my vaginal dryness." So I thought that was pretty funny. But apparently then PETA replied and was like, oh, it can only be 1,000 words. And so then they edited it. they were like, "We have to edit it down to 1,000 words." She's like, and they basically just took out all my jokes. And Nikki said she thought it was because they didn't want to say vaginal dryness at a shareholder meeting. But Nikki also said she thought it would wake people up at the shareholder meeting. And her co-host says how most people's statements would probably be like, "This is so sad, this is so tragic," and it would be good to have a statement that's more entertaining and has humor infused, which I agree with. So, I thought it was pretty funny, and it's very uh, it's very her kind of like crude and uh, you know, like oversharing a little bit, being vulnerable, working it into her humor. So I thought that was pretty funny. Zach says that reminds me of another story. Two captive beluga whales were evacuated from Ukraine and moved to a safer tank in Spain. A sanctuary would be best, but of course, it's still a better place for them. Well, that is an upgrade, I guess, an improvement. Carrie, oh, how embarrassing. Sorry. Laugh, cry, laugh, cry, laugh, cry. Um, yeah, so I don't know when the shareholder meeting is or when they're going to, uh, read that or if it's public, but it would be interesting to see what version they go with and if they include Nikki's remarks about her vaginal dryness. Um, so yeah, okay. So then in the podcast, she transitions to another topic, which will transition to me sharing my thoughts on this topic because it's come up a few times for me personally recently. Let's see. So let me pin a new topic. Okay. So as I said, she did that photo shoot with PETA where she was naked. And she talks about going to the PETA shoot with her mom. Oh, she confirms that PETA came up with the copy for the campaign that never steal someone else's material, which in my Good Vegan News, I was like, I wonder who came up with that. Like maybe Nikki did because that was really funny. She confirms that they came up with it. So she talks about how when she did the shoot with them, her mom came with her, and she was like trying to prepare her mom, like don't wear any leather, like don't have any leather on your body, don't wear leather shoes, like we're doing a thing for PETA, like don't wear any leather. And then her mom was talking to the PETA representatives at the shoot and was like, I don't even think people should wear used leather. Nikki says her mom was just trying to fit in because her mom wears leather and isn't vegan. But her mom said that. And then the PETA rep said, oh, used is fine. And Nikki was like, really? And they said, yeah, if you want to thrift. And so I found that very interesting because I was never aware of PETA's official stance on that. And maybe this isn't their official stance, but this is what um, at least a few PETA reps said. So I was kind of surprised by that. And so this leads us into discussing my thoughts on this, because this is something that people ask me about a lot. Like how I feel about secondhand wool, leather, how I feel about like wool and leather that you already own or things that are passed down to you. And so in my recent Good Vegan News video, I mentioned that I was wearing a vintage wool blazer. And the reason I mentioned that was to emphasize that it was very hot and I was wearing something that was, making me 10 times hotter. And I've mentioned this before in comments, but I don't know if everyone's seen them. But in my Good Vegan News segments, I wear all my mom's old blazers. So a few years ago, no, probably more like, I don't know, a while ago now, maybe like 10 years ago, my mom had all of these blazers from the 80s that she had bought back when she was working in an office and still had. and they didn't fit her, and so she was wondering if I wanted them, and a lot of them fit me. Like, most of them fit me pretty well. We had a few tailored to fit me, like, properly, and I just have this whole collection of her old blazers, probably like 8 or 10 of them total, and I, like, don't really ever have occasion to wear them because I don't work in an office, like, I don't there are a lot of them are, like, a little more dressy looking. So when I started my Good Vegan News segment, I thought it would be really funny to wear them because it's kind of perfect, it's like a bit of a newscaster vibe. And, on my recent Good Vegan News, I got a comment from someone who was not happy that I was wearing wool and that I should reconsider my consumption. I also saw on Sky, Vegan of Course's live stream, he called me out on that as well. So I feel like this is worth discussing, and I have talked about this. I think I talked about this in another live stream, like one of my first live streams, because someone had asked about it. And I feel like there's so much shame and tentativeness on this topic. Like, no one wants to feel like a bad vegan or be perceived that way by other vegans. But I think a lot of vegans recognize the nuance on this topic. And I think that's why a lot of people ask me about this, because they're like trying to grapple with how they feel about it. But I want to read the comment that I responded to that commenter. Hi, I have shared this before, but you may have missed it. My collection of blazers that I wear for Good Vegan News are all secondhand, passed down from my mom. I do not support the wool industry firsthand or condone supporting it. However, the secondhand market, I don't personally think things are as black and white. As vegans, we need to be mindful of the environmental toll of our clothing, in addition to considering whether or not we are contributing firsthand to animal suffering. If it's a choice between wearing an inherited or even secondhand purchased item of clothing that contains animal byproduct materials or buying fast fashion synthetic material new, I personally think the former is more environmentally conscious and ethical. So for me personally, I do not think this is a black and white issue. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. And everyone's going to have a different opinion on this, and I'm just sharing how I feel. And I think everyone has to kind of come to their own conclusions. Black Phoenix, it's a very complex topic. It's very similar to the argument of, well, I have this animal product anyway, might as well use it. It would be a waste, right? I avoid used leather, but I don't expect other vegans to agree on that. Exactly, Zach. I think that's pretty reasonable. And like I said, a lot of vegans just don't have any interest in wearing leather, like new or used, which is totally understandable. So in my opinion, it's not like a super linear topic. It's not a super black and white topic. Like I said, at this point in my life, I personally don't think there's ever a need to buy anything new. Like, I think there's enough shit in the world already, especially clothing. In my opinion, everyone should just be shopping secondhand for everything if they have the ability to. And yeah, I think, like many vegans, I feel like the idea of wearing a leather jacket, for example, would just be a reminder of an animal's skin. Like, something feels very creepy and wrong about that. But at the same time, do I have some old leather shoes that I still wear occasionally? Yes, I do. When it comes to handbags, if I purchase anything, I would like with handbags, I'm shopping secondhand, and I'm only shopping for vegan bags because there's so many high-end vegan handbag companies out there, and there's so much of it on the reseller websites. The only vegan bag that I've bought in the last few years has been the Angela Roy tote bag that I bought before my London trip. I showed that in the London vlog, part 1. But I bought that on Poshmark. And yeah, I think that like the reaction of just like, wool is bad, never wear wool is animal exploitation. I think sometimes I think reactions like that are a little bit more of an emotional response than a realistic response. That's just my opinion personally. Um, because I think with food, things are pretty black and white. Like if you eat eggs, you are contributing to the suffering of egg-laying hens, male chicks. If you eat dairy, you're contributing to the exploitation of cows. If you eat bacon, you're contributing to the exploitation of pigs. With clothing, and especially like the secondhand or passed down or your old clothes, it's just not as black and white. Um, Carrie said we all just do the best we can at the time. I agree. Sometimes people don't know or aren't able to use something else. In my opinion, it is not important whether vegans are perfect. It matters they are vegan. I agree with that, Carrie. Counter argument, is it respectful to that animal's life to wear it? I'd say no, but would love to hear what you think. Zach said, I wear a canvas belt specifically because it doesn't look like leather. Yeah, so that's an interesting thing too. And Black Phoenix, I don't know if I necessarily think it's respectful or disrespectful. I mean, I definitely, like, a lot of people are like, oh, it's already dead, and so I'm like, there's this school of thought, I guess, that's like, well, it's already dead, so it'd be disrespectful of me not to use it or something. But I think that kind of turns into a slippery slope sometimes. Um, but it does sometimes. I do have this feeling sometimes, like if someone um, like has a meat or some type of animal product, and then they're just like, oh, I don't like it, and throw the whole thing away, and then you're like, oh my god, that animal literally died for nothing. And it's not like it makes it feel good that they died for someone to eat it, but it also feels equally shitty that now their life just literally meant nothing. Like the reason that they were harmed and exploited and whatever for someone to eat it, that didn't even end up happening. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know that like really answered your question, but um by that logic, wouldn't it be okay to eat meat if the meat was going to be thrown out anyway? Good question. I'm going to acknowledge that in a second. When I look for cars, used ones, if they have real leather seats, it puts me off. Just what it is, suffering involved. I don't want those negative thoughts attached to something I own. I totally get that, and I think a lot of people feel that way. And I would say I mostly feel that way too. But yeah, I had written down freeganism, which is I talked about this in my first voice note podcast episode on Patreon. I didn't even know what freeganism was until a couple of years ago. Like, I had heard people say the word. I thought it was like a joke. Like when people were like, "Oh yeah, there's vegans that will eat food if it's free." I was like, I thought that was literally like a vegan joke. But it's a real thing. And I said this on the voice note episode that I feel like ideologically, I can't say I have like an ethical issue with freeganism, but um, there was a Reddit post on the topic, and someone shared that for them, freeganism kind of turned into a slippery slope because then it was like, well, this is going to get thrown away anyway. Well, and then it just kind of like devolved into them just not being vegan at all. And one of my patrons actually shared that they had the same experience where they tried freeganism and then it just ended up being a slippery slope. So I don't know. While it's not for me, I would rather someone be a freegan, I guess, than like a full blown carnist. Um, Complicated topic indeed. Yes. And I so the thing about like I wouldn't want to wear the leather because it would just make me feel upset or whatever. Like I totally get that. I feel like it's kind of similar to the thing of like I won't eat meat that was cooked near other or I won't eat vegan meat that was cooked near other meat, or I won't eat um something that was fried in the same fryer as something that's not vegan. And it's just like at that point, that's totally fine if you don't want to do that. And that's like a personal preference thing. I would say that those things aren't increasing animal suffering, like your food being fried in the same fryer. That's not increasing the demand for animal foods. Um, it's just your preference, and maybe the taste comes across and you don't like that. Like, so, um, yeah, and like I said, like I do think, and it seems like some of you, like Zach, like you said earlier, like it is personal preference, and I'm not telling anyone like this is what you should do, and you shouldn't have a problem with this and whatever. Everyone has to kind of like come to their own conclusion, look at all angles of it. But what I don't love is the sort of like rallying against people or being like, you're a bad vegan if you ever let a strand of animal fiber touch your skin. And I'm not saying anyone did that to me. Like all the comments or the few comments I got were very respectful, but I just think we should be careful of that in general because I don't think it's helpful. And I think that I feel like there's also multiple layers, right? So there's like continuing to wear things you owned before you were vegan. There's someone passing something down to you. There's buying something secondhand from Goodwill. There's buying something secondhand from something like the Real Real, like a high-end resale website. And I think all these things are arguably causing varying levels of demand. Like continuing to wear something, an item of clothing that you bought, 10 years ago, or 5 or 10 years before you were vegan, continuing to wear that thing. I don't think we can argue that that's contributing to demand, but buying like a leather Gucci handbag from the Real Real, that's arguably contributing to demand, because then maybe someone else who was also looking for a leather Gucci handbag, but wasn't able to get it because you bought the one they wanted, now maybe they're going to go buy it new from Gucci, or someone else is going to buy it for them, and that just created demand. That's not like a hard and fast rule. That's just something that can happen. Supply and demand, says, if you're buying something secondhand that someone who is not vegan would buy, then you're potentially creating a situation where they can't find the item secondhand. So may go buy new. Yes, literally exactly what I just said. So totally on the same page. I think if no one is profiting from a secondhand item, it's okay, like passed down from your mom, etc. Right. And yeah, and like I said, I think there's different levels. Like I think buying it from Goodwill or like a charity, that's our, big charity shop chain in the US, is a bit different from buying from a high-end secondhand reseller where there are demand for specific things. People may or may not go buy a new one. It may or may not generate vegan conversations. Who knows? Exactly. There's no way of knowing. And then, yeah, the thing that Zach said. So, like, some people will say, if you wear leather, let's say you wear your old leather shoes, you're sending a signal to others that it's okay to wear leather. But I'm sorry, I have some really expensive high-end vegan leather boots. And if I were to wear those out and someone saw them, like, how would that person know that they're not real leather? Like, me wearing vegan leather, high-end vegan leather could arguably create that demand. So that's why I totally get what you're saying, Zach, of not even wanting to wear anything that remotely looks like it, which is, I think, why vegans have the reputation of just wearing all hemp clothes, because it's like we don't want to wear anything that looks like an animal material. But I just don't think that's realistic. Like there are so many vegan clothing companies and vegan. I think that's great. I think that there should be, and I think vegans should be able to go to, Will's vegan store and get some really nice looking loafers. But yeah, I feel like that argument, it's like, oh, so don't even wear a synthetic wool blazer or a synthetic blazer because it could be mistaken as real wool, or don't, like I said, don't wear vegan leather shoes because someone might think that it's real leather. And yeah, and then I also think it's different, like um with like designer stuff. Like I said, like let's say Gucci, for example, like everyone recognizes that what this Gucci handbag looks like, and so you're wearing it, you're like literally advertising for that company and for that specific product, versus something that looks maybe a little bit more generic. Yeah, and then I also mentioned in the earlier live stream when we talked about this, that, um, that I've always thought it would be cool, and this is, like, maybe something I would wanna to sell someday, is some type of charm or something that you can wear to designate or to denote that your whatever you're wearing is vegan, like, clip it on your vegan leather bag, it just says vegan, or like, "This is vegan leather," or something like that. Um, yeah. Um, Black Phoenix, I guess it may lead non-vegan family members to assume veganism is a lot more lenient. I'm just trying to pose counter arguments here for the sake of deepening this conversation. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's the thing. There's so many different directions we could go. Be like, "But what about this? But what about this?" But for me, and this is like a really big part of this for me, I care greatly about veganism as it pertains to animals and ethics, but I also care greatly about the sustainability and environmental toll of things like the food industry and the clothing industry. Fast fashion is absolutely horrendous. It is so environmentally devastating. It impacts humans and animals. Um, and if someone were to argue with me that I'd be better off buying a synthetic blazer from like Shein or Zara or Target rather than seeking something secondhand or wearing my mom's old blazers, I'm just never going to see eye to eye with that person. And I think there are some vegans who are just like, they just as far as like fast fashion, the impact of that, like they either don't know or they don't care, and they think that like throwing away your leather and buying a bunch of new stuff from Target is somehow better and more ethical, and I just really don't agree with that. um so there was this docu-series or documentary on HBO Max called Brandy Hellville. I'm not sure if any of you guys watched it, but it's about the clothing company Brandy Melville, which was still is a very popular fast fashion clothing company aimed at young girls or like young teenagers, girls in particular. And it's a really interesting documentary, but it talks about the fast fashion clothing crisis, and specifically in Ghana, how our overconsumption of clothing is leading to all of these insane issues in Ghana. I'm going to post this article if anyone wants to take a look at it. Chantel, you should totally do that. Yeah, I think it would be really cool. I like the idea of vegan tags or pins. Zach said, Chantel said, I agree. We have to combine sustainability to veganism. It is like the sustainable movement, not talking about the meat industry sometimes. Exactly. Exactly. Good movie to watch is True Cost. I've never seen that. I've always wanted to watch it. I think I need to watch it now, but I think the Brandy Hellville documentary talks about a lot of the same stuff. Black Phoenix, what I tried to do was pass my non-vegan stuff on to family members that aren't vegan. It did ease my consciousness a little, but still difficult. Right. Exactly. It's like it still um exists in the world, right? And then also, if like you donate it all to Goodwill, well, a lot of that stuff's getting tossed in the fucking landfill or being shipped off to Ghana, which this article discusses. So I feel like if there's this kind of like out of sight, out of mind thing of like, oh, well, I don't own it anymore. And then there's no animals suffering, but like that still exists somewhere in this planet. But yeah, basically, so much of the secondhand clothing or the clothing that gets donated in the Western world, mainly the US, Europe, UK, just ends up in Ghana. They get these enormous bales of clothing shipped to them, and then like they get sold at this secondhand clothing market there, but it's just turned into this huge crisis because while the clothing used to be really high quality that they would get secondhand, now they're just getting like fucking junk, like absolute junk, and they don't know what they're going to get in their bale. It could be anything. And so a lot of the clothing is like unusable, unsellable. It just gets like tossed, and then it's clogging up Ghana's waterways. if you see the picture in the article that I just posted in the chat, like the beaches are just covered in clothing and it's really horrendous. And that's affecting humans and it's affecting animals, it's affecting sea life. Um, so yeah, I mean, I guess my closing thoughts are shopping secondhand is really what everyone should be doing if you are able. Like I'm literally, this necklace is secondhand, this shirt is secondhand, my jeans are secondhand, like pretty much everything I wear, or most of what I've bought in the last 5 or so years is secondhand. And again, that might not be something that everyone has access to, but shopping at thrift stores, secondhand clothing stores, Poshmark, I love. And yeah, and I would say most of my wardrobe has no animal materials in it, except like I said, a few of old pairs of shoes that I have, a couple sweaters that I've inherited from my parents, my mom's vintage blazers, which I will continue to wear. And that's my thoughts on this topic. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. But also thank you guys for sharing your thoughts. I think it's important to have these kind of discussions just in an open and non-judgmental way, because like I said, it is a very complicated issue. And I don't think it helps to be like, how dare you? I think that mostly just feels performative and not actually practical or helpful. um, We're never leaving home. No need for more clothes. Exactly. Don't wear any material, like Nikki Glaser in her PETA ad. I absolutely love those blazers you wear. I think they lend comedy gold to your show. LOL. I agree because, like, let's face it, they do kind of look like they're from the 80s. And so they definitely add to the cheesy news or corny. I try to say corny instead of cheesy newscaster vibe. So yeah, that is that whole topic. And I thought we could just do a really fun and fruity topic after that to cleanse the palate a bit. So everyone let me know, what is your favorite summer fruit? This is a Summer Friday live stream after all. And I thought it'd be fun to have a little summery topic. Corny is your game. Thank you, Carrie, I think. Strawberries says the real thing. Perfect for my thumbnail that I picked then. First of all, I don't eat as much fruit. I wish I ate more fruit. Paul and I were talking about this. Like, I feel like anytime we buy fruit, we're disappointed. Like it either wasn't ripe or it just wasn't good quality. And what I really need to do is find a local farm stand that just sells fruit. Where we lived before, when we lived with my parents, there was this amazing farm store that we would just go in the summer and it would just be this bounty of all these different fruits and vegetables that they grew there. But I did love the donut peaches, and I don't know where to find those because I would really like some. They're absolutely delicious. I don't know if you guys have tried them before. So I love donut peaches. I do love berries. I feel like berries are so finicky though. Like they're a little too sour. They're a little overripe by the time I eat them. But yeah, I don't think I've had any fresh strawberries this season. We did have, Paul's mom bought these for us because they're very expensive, but we had some organic cherries. That's one of my favorite summer fruits. There's nothing better than just like delicious organic summer cherries. And they're so fucking expensive. But thank you, Claudia, for buying them for us. Zach says, I've got apricots in the fridge. That sounds delicious. I don't eat apricots that often. That sounds good. Laura says watermelon. Laura, did you see my special guest earlier? If not, I will show it to you again on that note. Call me ill-informed, but I have no clue what counts as a summer fruit. I lived in too many countries and each one seems to have different fruits for each season. Well, that's fair. That's totally fair. I guess, I mean, I'd love to hear what people's favorite summer fruits are in their various countries. I'm based in the US. I think most people in the chat are watermelon or mango. Yeah, mango. I feel like there's been so many sales on mango recently because it's been in season, and I have not taken advantage of it as I should have. Watermelon, another one for watermelon from Carrie. I'm from the middle of nowhere, Tennessee, and if I didn't eat watermelon, my family might disown me. Guys, I'm just gonna bring it in again in case anyone didn't see. If you did see it already and you're sick of seeing it, I'm sorry, but this is the watermelon that my boyfriend and I bought yesterday on the side of a road out of a man's truck who was slinging watermelons that he drives down to Georgia to get. So this better be the best watermelon that Paul has ever eaten. Otherwise, I want my $25 back. But anyway, watermelon seems to be the popular answer. Trying to think what other summer fruit or vegetable. Corn on the cob. Definitely, I don't eat enough corn on the cob, and I'm always like, why didn't I eat more of that this summer? Tomatoes, like really good summer tomatoes, which are technically a fruit, everybody, as most of us know. You should think isn't from outer space, LOL. Yeah, I feel like it's deep cut. Hope maybe some of you will get this reference. In Stardew Valley, when you have your crops and then like a magical fairy comes and sprinkles a crop and then one of your crops like blows up and is huge, that's that watermelon. That is a Stardew Valley blown up watermelon. Chat just got disconnected for a second. Did you guys experience any interruption? I don't eat much fruit. It mostly hurts my stomach. Yeah, a lot of fruit is a little too acidic for me. I find that more as the years go on. Like especially apples. I used to love apples. Um well, that's a big boy. Hope it's good. I'll let you know. Paul's got his work cut out for him cutting that thing open. No, you guys didn't. Okay. That was weird. On my end, it said it got disconnected. Okay. Well, that was a fun little palate cleanser. Oh, okay. Let's move on. Excited to talk about this one. And this was Zach's idea. So thank you, Zach. I hope you're still here. Show of hands, who's seen Kindness Town? Who knows what Kindness Town is? Oh wait, I was gonna put a link to it as well. So okay, here's a link. So if you guys open that in a separate tab and you can watch it afterward. So this is, if your watermelon makes any bubbling, fizzing noises, don't eat it. I sure hope that doesn't happen with this one. Good. Some of you guys familiar with Kindness Town, Carrie. Of course, you've seen Kindness Town. So Kindness Town is a vegan children's puppet show that was created by Jess McKay, who is, let me just get to my Kindness Town. Basically, I had been hearing about Kindness Town through Sky, Vegan of Course, for a while, so I knew that it was coming out at some point, or I knew about it for a while, and then it finally debuted, I believe, June 1st, and it's a really short episode, it's a children's episode, so it's 14 minutes, I think. And I didn't really know what to expect. I knew that some people were making a children's vegan puppet show, but I didn't know. I don't know. I just had no idea what to expect. And it really blew my expectations out of the water. It was made by Fanny and Jess. So Jess was it says he was the writer and creator, but there were a bunch of other people involved, including Fanny and Sky and a bunch of other people. I'm Sky's longest serving channel. Okay, great. The real thing. Thanks for being here. But yeah, of course, you guys know about it from being Sky's audience. So yeah, it was created by Jess McKay, who is a vegan puppeteer, and after watching the episode, I was really blown away by it. Like, whatever my expectations were, the show blew them out of the water, and there's clearly a very talented team of people, and I found this, about Jess, online, so I wanted to read it. Jess McKay is a puppet artist, musician, filmmaker, activist, and longtime ethical vegan based in Los Angeles. His puppet work includes projects with Disney, the Jim Henson Company, Universal, and Sesame Studios. Jess left the Jim Henson Company in protest over its abuse of animals to decorate puppets. For the past several years, he has led an activism campaign against Henson, Sesame Street, Apple, and Disney to compel them to stop abusing animals to decorate puppets. Jess works to make the world a better place through storytelling and art. His newest project, Kindness Town, is a vegan coded puppet show for preschoolers. So, very, very impressive resume. And none of this was surprising to read because, like I said, the quality of the show was on par with those big, iconic puppet shows. Carries the second longest mod. Love it. Um, it's so cool that they got Sid Croft to narrate. Yeah, they had some pretty big people involved. Hey, extropian transhuman. Um, I'll finish my talking with my other conversation, then I'll come here. But I'm here. Yay! Wow, this started an hour ago. Yeah, it started at 4 EST. But you can catch up. You can catch up later. We've had some good topics. And extropian transhuman was one of the requested that I do another live stream, and I was already planning it, so it was perfect and validated that it was time for me to do one. So yeah, I would love to hear what you guys thought of Kindness Town. It's interesting because last year I did a video about Donkey Hody, the children's show. Was it you, Zach, that recommended that topic to me? Because there was an episode of the show that was completely focused on cheese, and someone was like, "I think you should watch this because I, talk a lot about how the dairy industry advertises to children in subtle and not so subtle ways." So I did a video talking about that episode, and it was very disheartening to see, like, wow, children are getting, starting early with the dairy propaganda. And so to have a vegan puppet show, I feel like is a very welcome, would be a very welcome addition to the children's programming space. Yes, it was you, Zach. Stumbled on Donkey Hody, Cheesy Con that one time. Yeah. So if you guys haven't seen that video of mine, maybe you can watch it. So I want to share my thoughts on Kindness Town, and I'd love to hear what you guys thought as well. So it was interesting. Like, I was kind of wondering how they would do this, how they would get this vegan message across. And in the beginning of the episode, there's some fourth wall breaking, which at first I was like, oh, this is unusual. And they kind of had some fourth wall breaking about the puppets realizing that they're puppets, and they go and talk to a puppet maker. And I believe the person that they talk to is a famous puppeteer. I wasn't familiar with him. I'm not very familiar with the world of puppeting. I don't know what the right word is, but it was apparently a very well-known one. And so they talk to him. The puppets are talking to him, and they're asking him questions, and they start to learn about the materials that are used to make them. And they're just asking questions like, well, where do these materials come from? And so then it leads to the character Cleo, learning more about where feathers come from, being very sad and upset. And she sings my favorite song in the episode called You Can't Own a Rainbow. And it is this heartbreakingly beautiful song. I cried when I watched it. I could cry just thinking about it. That character is voiced by Kirsten Marilyn. And I have to say, she has the most beautiful voice. And it's literally perfect for this character. Like, she sings this song and it's like heartbreaking and it's beautiful. It's got everything in it. I'd love to hear what you guys thought of that. I'm like getting weepy just thinking about it. Carrie, Puppetry, You Cried Too. Yeah, I mean, that song, every time I hear it, I cry, even just thinking about it. Um, and then there's another song I really liked called, I don't know if it's actually called this, but it might look different, but it still looks good. It's a total bop. It's really catchy. The message is so spot on. Things might look different, but it's still good. Just because it's different doesn't mean it's bad. And then I also want to say there's this little red duck character that I absolutely love. It is so cute. I think it's supposed to be a duck. But it's really uh well, like I said, it's very cute. And it just kind of like waddles on screen, and it's just so realistic the way it really captures the essence of a duck. And what's so amazing about it is that it doesn't use any feathers because, of course, feathers are very common in puppetry, and they cause birds to suffer. And so this duck is made without any feathers, and it's just very impactful how it doesn't take anything away from the experience of seeing a bird on screen and in puppet form. And I just love the little red duck so much. I just want to like hug it and give it a little kiss. I hope it catches on so much that Big Bird has to get a non-feather makeover. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine how many birds go into making Big Bird? Um, so yeah, I really overall, I really loved Kindness Town. I was really blown away by it. I guess they just did the one episode, and then maybe they're hoping to get some type of funding or support to do more episodes. I forgot my ice pack is back here. Yeah, maybe that's what they're trying to do. I'm not really sure what their plan is. I think it was picked up by a vegan streaming service. I forget what that service is called. But yeah, I highly recommend people to watch it. And bravo to the team that put it together. They asked, so the program's message is a vegan one, or is it more well-rounded show with a subtle vegan message? I mean, I don't know. What would you guys say who have seen it? I think it's a well-rounded show in that it's not just like veganism, veganism, veganism. It's a really like, I think any kid would enjoy it, and I also think parents watching would enjoy it because it's well-rounded in terms of, like, it has all the elements of a great puppet show. Like, the music and the characters and the visuals and everything is there. Um, but there's I mean, it's educational, which is what, when I did the Don Quixote video, I was looking up the goal of children's programming, especially for young children, and it's like it wants to teach you a lesson, and you learn something new in every episode. So in this episode, it was clearly like the feathers, talking about the feather industry and how it causes birds to suffer. Carrie said, just think of the great publicity the Henson Company would get for a Big Bird makeover. They're so myopic. I think so too. No one says the word vegan in it, if that helps. That's interesting. Yeah, I was wondering how in depth it was going to go. I mean, and I assumed they were going to keep it very kid friendly, so no like graphic footage or anything like that. But sorry, there's some dog walkers outside. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Kindness Town. And let me know if you guys have any other thoughts on that. So this is the last topic I have written down. Let's see. They focus on kindness and being kind, Carrie says. They don't say vegan, but they say food that doesn't hurt anyone or something like that. Yeah. I think it's important to encourage kids to, yeah, to make that connection of like we teach kids about kindness anyway, but we don't always teach them what that means as it translates to food and, the I don't wanna say the choices they make because kids aren't really making choices for themselves. I mean, they are in little ways, but, I think it would be nice to hear them mention the word veganism. Vegan kids can sometimes feel left out, and any mention of it can help them feel recognized, if that makes sense. That's definitely an interesting point. Um, yeah, but you can always, you can follow them on Instagram, you can, subscribe to their YouTube, follow them, and you can message them and let them know. Give them your feedback. You can't comment on the video on YouTube because it's any video on YouTube that's aimed toward children can't have comments on it. So, all right. So while we're on the topic of children, this was this was on this was a question from my subscriber Hong. Hopefully, I'm saying that correctly. But yeah, they were wondering about how to encourage your child to choose veganism for themselves. Is on my mind, is what they said. And big disclaimer that I don't have children, so I don't have firsthand experience with this. And maybe some of you guys do, or have seen other people go through this. And it's definitely something I've thought about of like, if I ever have kids, what would this look like? And um, how would this be? Like, I've known kids who were raised vegetarian and then rebelled and eat meat now. I've known kids who were raised vegetarian and then became vegan, like Paul and his brothers. So it could the watermelon is big enough to be a child. Yeah, I'll just focus on caring for the watermelon for now. I'll use that as practice. I'll let you guys know how it goes. But yeah, so I don't know. I feel like this would be more of an issue with like a mixed parenting situation where one parent is vegan and the other one isn't. Then I feel like it's kind of hard because then it's like the kid is like, whose lead do I follow? But I feel like for me, what I would think would be the approach that I would take is obviously um well, obviously you're leading by example, right? If you're a vegan, you're leading by example. Kids are very inquisitive, they ask questions. And I mean, kids are the when people are kids is when they uh are more likely to make the connections of like, well, what is this and where does this come from and why do we do this? And that's usually when the brainwashing starts of like, no, 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 that doesn't cause any harm. Like, no, 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 like the cows don't feel any pain and things like that. Oh, Carrie, that's right. I forgot you have kids. Don't give kids anything to rebel against. Maintain respect at all times. They are people what will absorb your values if they feel valued. I love that. And I was thinking a similar thought on like, yeah, the don't give your kids anything to rebel against. Like these are human people that are forming and they need to feel empowered to make their own decisions. I think has vegan maybe a good idea would be to have a TV playing Kindness Town on loop every time the kid walks by. They get a little more indoctrinated. Um, I do think that vegan friendly programming and content, books, things like that, to try to teach them about where food comes from are helpful. I know that like I'm pretty sure PETA has books for kids. I think there's been a lot of, you know, books for kids that are, made by vegans to uh not to indoctrinate them, but to spread the message and to spread awareness. And as opposed to the humane washing that happens in most children's books and programming of like, here's the farmer and the cow and everybody's happy, but like no one's talking about how the farmer's going to go kill the cow or kill its baby. So yeah, that would be my approach, would be to seek out those type of things like Kindness Town, like the kids books. There's a wonderful book called V is for Vegan. Good to know. Let's see, Black Phoenix. My son is still quite young, and it can be hard to explain why he can't have stuff that is given to him, cakes with milk and stuff. We usually buy him something vegan as a replacement. That's got to be really tough. We usually explain it all, and he agrees, but it can be difficult for him to understand at times, but it's fine. I totally understand that, and that's something I've seen people talk about in the vegan subreddit, like at school, everyone's having a cupcake party or a pizza party, and why can't I have it? And I've seen people be like, my kid's teacher is amazing and always make sure that they have something that's like equally as special. But I feel like in schools there's so many kids these days with, not just vegan but dietary thing, and gluten, soy, just dairy but can eat egg, just all kinds of things. How dare you not indoctrinate your children with a false reality? I think I get what you're saying. I'm like trying to translate all the double negatives, and I'm like, I think I get what you're saying, and you're making a joke and not trolling. Carrie says every adult trying to justify meat at some point says that's just how I was raised. From the vegan point of view, it's also true. Raise them vegan, let them choose, and mostly they'll stay vegan. How dare you? Funny. Yeah, so many people use how they were raised or like family tradition. Oh, but in my family we do this. Oh, but in my family we have traditional this or traditional that. And I've talked before about how like family recipes can be modified. I think I've talked about this on here. My mom has French Canadian heritage, and the family recipe that was passed down was tourtière or meat pie. And it's one of my mom's favorite things ever. She makes it every year on Christmas Eve, and I grew up always eating it. And there were like maybe 6 or 7 years ago at Christmas, I literally veganized the traditional family recipe, and it came out so well. I literally just used a lentil walnut blend for the meat. And then I kept everything else the same. And in the crust, obviously I made a vegan crust, and it was delicious. So yeah, when people use that excuse, I'm like, that's literally just an excuse. Anybody from Hawaii in this motherfucker? Whoa, Matthews M. Am I saying that correctly? Are you from Hawaii? Extropian transhuman, fertilizing my soil, still getting some stuff done. Good for you. Are you gardening? That's very cool. We have yet to get our shit together to garden. I don't know if it's going to happen this summer. We have the space for it, but we don't really have the knowledge and the know-how and arguably the motivation, but that would be a dream. So yeah, back to the kids. I feel like you're leading by example. I feel like I would let them know why. If they ask, I would let them know why, but I wouldn't be like, again, like trying to push it onto them. But definitely doing fun things like bringing them to animal sanctuaries and doing activities where they're learning about the animals that are exploited and developing an understanding of like what that means. And yeah, I do think the social aspect would be difficult. But it sounds like, who was it who was saying that? I think it was Black Phoenix, of always trying to just like get them another, like, well, you get a special treat, and that's even better. And like, I think that would be important too. Carrie says the younger the better. And he asked me why my burger looked different than his grandma's. I just said mine was veggies and grandma's was meat. That opened a conversation. My mom was livid. Oh my gosh. How people are just, and people call vegans snowflakes, you know? How dare you talk about what this is? So she doesn't even want to know what it is. So she certainly doesn't want to talk to the kid about what it is. Um, and if people complain about vegan food being boring, send them Gaz Oakley's channel. LOL. Seriously. Seriously. If they want to say that vegan holidays won't be fun, I'll send them Gaz Oakley's Wellington, whatever beet Wellington or whatever he makes. This like insane, amazing looking recipe. I live here now from Poland originally. Hi, hello. That's so cool. I've never been to Hawaii. I've always wanted to go. Teaching kids to consider animals' autonomy and letting compassion be their guide is preferable to lying to them about certain animals being ordained as food, confusing them by some nebulous authority. So true. So true. That literally we get lied to when we're like, I remember asking my parents, like, does the cow feel pain? Like, did the cow feel pain when it died? My parents just said no. But that's because they're in denial. But yeah, that's literally lying. But we're lying to ourselves and we're lying to our kids. Most people at least. I mean, my son asked me, I got cut off. I got what you're saying. Thoughts about using expired film if it contains horse gelatin? What do you mean by film? Let's just all move to a vegan city, seriously. Well, Zach, you live in Northern California. What are you talking about? I guess maybe you don't live in San Francisco, but um I'd say if it's already in existence, making the most of it is ideal to me, although it's not vegan. Oh, for analog photography. Yeah, Full Circle Network. I'm not sure if you just were here for my TED Talk about secondhand animal byproduct clothing, but I would say I personally feel similarly about photography film. If it still works. I mean, it's expired, but if it still works. So yeah, I don't even know if Hong is here, but hopefully they will see this later. And hopefully they got some insight. But yeah, I would definitely say, having been raised with certain food restrictions, not like vegetarian or vegan, but like around like junk food and like you can't have this and like um, these sort of seemingly arbitrary restrictions of what was good and what was bad, and then like rebelling and going crazy when I was at a friend's house. Like, I definitely wouldn't want to repeat that dynamic with my kids if and when I have kids. My grandfather was a cattle rancher. Might be a reason why I became vegan. That's interesting. Yeah, Dr. Is it Dr. Barnard or T. Colin Campbell? But maybe Dr. Barnard too, but definitely T. Colin Campbell grew up. I know he's shared that grew up on a ranch. Uh, I'd say it's way too expensive to use film. Job done, huh? Yeah, not in San Francisco, unfortunately. Okay. Zach, what's the update on that vegan village or something that was supposed to be created? Or was that what it was? I don't know. Any updates on that? maybe you can move there. But yeah, do you guys have any other thoughts on kids, vegan kids, anything like that? Oh, and another concern, I guess, is the thing that what I would be concerned about would be like boundary setting when it comes to my kids being around other family members, and like, this is what we feel, it's like setting that boundary. I know I've had some people I've known in the past who were vegan and their partner wasn't, but their partner was very respectful of them and they would only eat vegan in their house and all that stuff. But maybe the partner's family was very not vegan friendly or on board with it. And then the person I knew, my vegan friend, being concerned about having kids and them going to the grandparents' house and the grandparents, you know, kind of being assholes and breaking the boundary, like just because they don't believe the kid should be vegan or whatever. And like this person that I was talking to, like literally had anxiety about that, like that was a concern of theirs, and even thinking about having kids. Um, and I can relate. I can relate to that. I will say, um, this person now does have kids, so very happy for them. And I hope I'll have to check in with them at some point and see if that issue has come up. Carrie said, I don't want to end on a depressing note, but I just wanted to say that it was in my stream today that John McDougall passed away. I saw that too. The comments from the keto people were disturbing and disgusting. That's so fucked up. That's really fucked up. Yeah, I don't know. I did see that. I don't know much about Dr. McDougall other than having seen his products in stores. I did want to read a little bit more about him. I saw something about how he had lifetime health issues that started when he had a series of strokes in his 20s or something like that, like a series of medical events in his 20s that led to him changing his life and his lifestyle and going to a plant-based diet, and that like just really becoming his new path in life. But what I understood from this very small blurb that I read was that like he had lifetime health issues from something that happened before he was vegan, and seemingly being vegan extended his life for a very long time. But I again, I need to look into that more. I have seen people suggest that it's better to let the child do what they want when they're out with friends and family, assuming they are teens, but keeping them home vegan only. Yeah, I mean, you can only control what you can control. And like Carrie said, if you put these like strict restrictions, they're going to resent you and rebel. Um, I'd say that, okay, hang on. I also want to say, guys, sometimes when I rewatch my stream later, I'll see comments that I didn't see at all that I'm like, did that comment literally not show up, or did I just miss it? So I'm very sorry if I have missed anyone's comments. I always try to respond to everything unless it's an obvious troll, which thankfully we have not had in this stream. And I am very grateful for that. So Carrie said, I don't watch anything by the keto carnivore community. I jealously guard what content I consume. Very wise, I would say. I'd say that if the kid grew up vegan, they'd probably stay it anyway. That's what I would think, especially nowadays. Like the kid's not growing up wanting for anything. You want chicken nuggets? We got chicken nuggets. You want uh, grilled cheese? We got that. You want, cupcakes? We got those. Someone was saying that they didn't consume enough greens. Oh, that they didn't consume enough greens for alkalinity. Is that about John McDougall? That's how we do it. And if you play your cards right, you get a set of opinionated little people that will lecture others. That's really cute, Carrie. Yeah, because doctors had nothing to offer him with regards to reversing the stroke damage. Okay. It's really amazing how long he's lived after the health issues. Matthews, I'm going to a birthday dinner with a bunch of coworkers. I've spoken with a few of them, and I'm really friendly with about choosing the vegan plate, and they've agreed. That's cool. So they're letting you order all vegan stuff, or they're just being cool about, what you're ordering. He had salt in his products that he sold. I wouldn't say it was super healthy, but he paved the way so much for others that for the 5% bad, it's 95% good. Yeah, I mean, all packaged soups and stuff are just super salty, unfortunately, and like never really taste that good. Dr. McDougall was not vegan. He has said he isn't vegan over and over again. Red Pill Pete had a video on it, but the video is gone now. Dr. McDougall said he ate turkey every other Thanksgiving. What the fuck? It's just every other. Oh my god, would he like keep track on his calendar? Like, oh, thank God I get the turkey this year. Yeah, I mean, I guess I wouldn't be surprised if he was just one of these like plant-based for health doctors. Like I said, I really didn't know anything about him, but I would have assumed that he was vegan. Um, Also on Halloween, he would let people not worry about it. Oh, he would tell people not to worry about it? It's these holiday meals here and there that make or break. It doesn't take much. Moderation kills, according to others. So no, I wouldn't say something rude about his death. I agree. I mean, people are just so fucked. That's in poor taste in general. Has vegan sounds like conjecture though. I bet McDougal was vegan, just someone else saying this and that isn't enough. Of course, I wouldn't say anything rude either. It was on Chef AJ. She asked everyone about the vegan SOS free Halloween treats. And McDougal said, "Who cares?" A total non-answer. I'd like to kind of watch that. That sounds sort of hilarious. Who cares? Like, what? um, I will say, I feel like with Dr. Barnard in his book, his recent book that I read and that I interviewed him about, like so many people vilify sugar, and like Dr. Barnard's like, who gives a shit about sugar? Like, I don't know if that's true, but like he's just like, it's not sugar, it's all the other shit. Like, in baked goods, for example, it's not the sugar that's the problem. It's the butter and the heavy cream and the eggs and whatever else. I read quotes from him that he used to tell people that to wind them up because he used to get annoyed by the cult of veganism. Oh my gosh. That's interesting, maybe vaguely comforting. Oh my gosh, I gotta look into this guy. I really don't know much about this guy at all. And I feel like I get him confused with, there's McDougal, and then isn't there another one? Um, isn't there another doctor that sells, is McDougal the one that has the let me look, the McDougal soups. Are the soups? Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. I used to like live on these when I would travel for work. Oh my gosh. RIP. No, I didn't make the connection that the soups that you add water to. Yes, those were very, very salty. And I wouldn't use the entire seasoning packet, but I'm not gonna say I literally lived on them, but when I was traveling for work a lot, I always had a couple of the black beans and a couple of the split peas in my suitcase, and I would boil water and I would eat those for dinner sometimes, not every night, but health can be an endless pursuit. Veganism sticks if you have more reasons than just not wanting to die. Totally. Got to have something really motivating you. Most of the foods that Carnists considers sweets or sources of sugar are full of fat, exactly, e.g. donuts, chocolate cake, cookies, etc., ice cream. Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, there's even people in my life that it's like you're focusing on the wrong thing. You're like, so like, oh, too much sugar, too much sugar. I'm like, well, really, it's like brownies and ice cream and that you're eating, and it's not the sugar in that that's like contributing to your high cholesterol. You know what I mean? I thought he had a lot of wise wisdom, and I learned a lot from him. Chef AJ is shutting down too, or was that clickbait? Who is Chef AJ, and what is Chef AJ? I feel like I've heard of them before. Is that like a channel? Chef AJ on YouTube. I seen this person before in my life. Okay. I was totally unfamiliar with her. Interesting. The final episode of Chef AJ Live. Maybe she is shutting down. Hey, Tofu Never Bleeds. We're sort of winding down, but let's the free forum. Anything you guys want to chat about? We've been chatting about Dr. McDougal passing away, chatting about vegan, raising kids vegan, and lots of interesting stuff to catch up on. I'll do time codes, maybe not tonight, but probably I'll have them up tomorrow. So if you want to jump around, you can do that. Chef AJ has about 7 zillion videos. Um, I'm sure a few other of my coworkers will go for the non-vegan option. Should I bring up the idea of choosing the vegan plate and how should I go about it? I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. Okay. Is this like a group dinner where you're going out all together for dinner? Just a little just a little looking for like a little clarity because I have a lot of thoughts on this topic. Um what do you think about vegan cat food? I'm open to it. The ones that I've tried on my cats did not go well, but it's a something that I'm open to. But I also don't want to devolve into a conversation about cat food, which a few of my streams have already done. I'm thinking I'm gonna like pin on some section of my channel, just like my statement on cats and cat food and direct people to it. Um, Uh, but sometimes I just can't help myself. For anyone that wants to find the Halloween episode I was talking about, it's called Dr. John McDougall Answers Your Questions and Rant on Overweight Vegans. I'm definitely going to watch that. I need to watch this guy's cranky response. So Matthew's right. So that is what's happening. Group dinner. Okay. These can be tough because I feel like if it's the type of thing where you're where it's like everyone's ordering a bunch of different things um and sharing, that's tough because then it's like, oh, we'll get one or two vegan dishes for you, but then everyone takes a little bit of the vegan dish and then you don't have as much food as everyone else. So that always annoys me at group dinners. So I for me, when I'm at group dinner, like I would want to order something for myself, like one thing just for myself, or the whole table orders vegan. Do you know what I mean? Or order something for yourself and then like an entree, and then they can order a few vegan apps and everyone can try those and share. Um, but it sounds like you're a little bit anxious about like how it's gonna go, maybe, or I know it can always be tough with coworkers. I've definitely had conversations with people about this before. Because group dinners can be tough. But yeah, I would say either encourage them to order like mostly vegan stuff or make sure you get something for yourself and then a few other things to share. Um, Last work dinner I went to, a plate of veal was put down right in front of me. No more. Ugh, that's terrible. Yeah, group dinners can be really tough with coworkers. I don't have a ton of experience with that. I will say when I've had dinners with coworkers, usually it's like they're like, "You pick the restaurant," because they want me to pick somewhere that's got stuff for me, which is very sweet. And I'm trying to think, there's been a few times when I haven't. I mean, sometimes what will happen if there's like another vegan, I'll be like, "You and me, like we'll sit together." And then we'll just do our own, like we'll be a little unit and we'll order things to share and whatever. Because then it's also like with if your company is paying for it, fine. But then if like everyone's splitting everything, like I'd rather just be like, I'll do my own thing. I'll be on a separate check. Everyone else can share their meat and pay for it. Sitting right next to the director of sustainability who had zero qualms with chomping down on that poor baby. Ugh, heartbreaking. And then they'll go like, "Does this bother you? This doesn't bother you, does it?" And you have to be like, "No." That's why I said in one of my hot vegan takes video that vegans should get Academy Awards for the amount of acting we have to do in everyday life to just like cosplay as unbothered humans when really like we're dying inside thinking about all the suffering that's surrounding us. Yeah, that's tough. But Matthews, I hope your dinner goes well. If you have any other more specific concerns, feel free to ask us. Does anyone have any specific plans for tonight or plans for the weekend? Cosplay, haha, cry laugh. Paul and I are doing a pizza night tonight. I am so excited. I get the pizza dough from Whole Foods. It's the dough they sell in the refrigerator section near the prepared foods in my Whole Foods. It's like in between the prepared foods and the drinks, and it's really good. I got like the multi-grain one tonight, but I usually just get the regular one, and then I do sauce, and then I do Miyoko's pizza mozzarella, and then I do broccoli rabe, and I got some renegade salami in my latest purple carrot box. I don't know. Let me know if any of you here, this is like a deep cut, long time, totally forkable litmus test. My review of the vegan salamis, Renegade Foods. I probably made that video 4 years ago now, but yeah, I haven't had it since then, and I'm so excited. It's a vegan salami company, and it's really expensive, but we got a credit from Purple Carrot, and so I bought some salami. I'm gonna put it on my pizza, and I'm so excited. Um, love your sense of humor. Thank you, Carrie. Got to tell you, it's 11 p.m. here in the UK. Nice. So you're in the UK, the real thing. That's cool. What are your favorite pizza toppings? Well, like I said, broccoli rabe. I'm obsessed with broccoli rabe, you guys. Like, I got to figure out, maybe I have some type of deficiency that the nutrients in broccoli rabe provide, because I could eat that. That could be my only vegetable that I ever eat. If you haven't tried broccoli rabe, I don't know. You might not like it actually. It's very bitter. It's like I feel like it's in like the mustard green family, but it is so fucking good. And it, like, the way that it like cooks on the pizza, just like bakes, it gets a little crispy and like so good. So yeah, I would say that's my favorite. And then I don't know, that's usually what I do. I do like pizza. I mean, I do I like pizza, duh. I do like pineapple on pizza, Carrie. I'm not gonna fight you. I used to do, what did I used to do back in the day? I would do pineapple and, oh my god, I would do this when Beyond had the Beyond chicken strips. RIP to those, like in the original Beyond Meat product, the Beyond chicken strips, which we've all aired our grievances about them doing away with. But I used to do, back when I lived in LA, this was like a common thing I would do. I would do like a barbecue chicken pizza with the Beyond chicken strips. And I think I would do regular sauce and barbecue sauce, some type of vegan cheese, pineapple, think maybe red onion. So fucking good. I haven't done that in a long time. Um, Zach remembers the vegan salami review very long time ago. Never got around to trying it though. Yeah, it's expensive. It's like uh maybe $12 per piece. More dates, more fiber. Did you take your B12 today? I did not. I don't take B12. Possibly controversial take, but I eat so much nutritional yeast that I get it through that. And I also drink Oatly, which is fortified. So I never really pay attention to B12, and my levels are always off the charts. So I guess I'm good on that. Carrie says she's obsessed with broccoli, never tried broccoli rabe. They might not have it in Australia, but it's a winter vegetable, but I've been seeing it in the summer. It's this brand called Andy Boy is the company, or the farm, or the whatever, the company that provides it, and I think that I single-handedly keep Andy Boy in business. I met broccoli, he robbed me. Classic vegan joke. That's not a classic. It's actually pretty original. I've never heard that before. It's so silly. Wish we had that Miyoko's mozzarella in the UK. Don't think we have anything like that. Hey, Mr. Miller. Yes, that is something I will say we are lucky. I get jealous of UK vegans, but we are very lucky to have Miyoko's products here. I don't know if you guys have any. Like, do you not have any, or you just only have some? Zach said, when Trader Joe's had vegan pizza, RIP. Remember when? I used to buy a can of pineapples to put some on it. Was that the Meat Lovers pizza? Why the fuck did Trader Joe's take away their vegan pizza? Like, what? They have so many different frozen pizzas and they don't have a vegan one? insane. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I thought about doing a video about Trader Joe's taking vegan things away, and then I decided not to. But that sounds really good. That with pineapples. I want to make a copycat version of Miyoko's liquid mozzarella. Apparently someone did on YouTube. One of my subscribers was telling me that someone literally just like took vegan mozzarella shreds and like blitzed them in a blender with a little water or something and like basically made a liquid pizza mozzarella. It could work. It's worth a try. Carrie, that's how you cook broccoli? That sounds good. That sounds very easy. Very easy vegan meal. And air fried tofu. My favorite frozen pizza ever was Amy's pepperoni. Haven't seen it in a few years. I haven't either. Good call. I've never had vegan frozen pizza. What, Carrie? Maybe it's more of an American thing. Hey, Bo, welcome. Broccoli Rob is called rapini here. Yes, it's called that too, but more commonly called broccoli Rob, I think. I love it too. I actually discovered it after my grocery store stopped carrying Chinese broccoli gailan. They're very similar. They are similar. I tried gailan. I don't know if it was for the first time, but I had it in a purple carrot box and I liked it, but it just reminded me of how much more I like broccoli Rob. It didn't have the bitterness factor for me. My theory is that Tattooed Chef made those pizza for Trader Joe's. Yes, I think that's a good possibility. I'm a gluten-free vegan and I can even get gluten-free and vegan pizzas here. Here meaning in the UK. No surprise there if true. Well, actually, Dea or Dea, I guess I'll call it Dea. That's how you're supposed to say it. I think all their pizzas are gluten-free. And you can tell the crusts are not very good. But they do have the pepperoni. And then speaking of Amy's though, guys, I don't know if you saw that Amy's has now been approved. Like we can buy Amy's again. The ban is over. They reached a deal with their workers for better working conditions and very welcome news because Amy's is, one of the most widely available vegan convenience brands in the US. And Tattooed Chef is apparently coming back. So hopefully they'll have the pepperoni pizza because that was the best vegan frozen pizza I've ever had. I didn't know they existed and I've never seen any here. What is the best brand of vegan cream cheese? Good question. I don't have a good answer for that. Well, are you in the US? More dates, more fiber. I do love the Miyoko's cream cheese. It's maybe not for everyone. It's super tart and cultured tasting, but I love it. And it's very expensive and we get it every once in a while, but it is pricey. I used to like Tofutti. The last few times I've had it, I just really didn't like it. And people love the Violife one. I don't really like I have weird feelings on Violife. Sometimes I'm like, they're pretty good. And sometimes I'm like, ew, what is that weird flavor? I guess they have them in the shops. It's not like I'm ever searching through the frozen pizza section ever. Same. Just kidding. You will often find me in the frozen pizza section, just looking around, usually not finding anything that I'm looking for. Okay, now I need to go look for broccoli Rob. I guess some Asian markets would hear it. I don't know if it would be an Asian market. I don't know if it might be more of an Italian thing, but like Whole Foods has it and my local health food stores have it. So you might just have luck. Trader Joe's does not have it, but yeah, you might have luck at like a local supermarket or maybe health food store. Philadelphia's vegan cream cheese. I haven't tried that. Let's see if I missed anything. More dates for fiber. I'd say Kite Hill. Yeah, Kite Hill's okay. I make my own from sunflower seeds and water. That sounds good. That's it? Just sunflower seeds and water? Zach said, yay, I was aware of the Amy's boycott, didn't get involved because I have so few choices of frozen food. Yeah, I mean, we like mostly abided it, but there were definitely a few times when, for convenience reasons, we bought it. But I'm glad we don't have to feel guilty anymore. Miyoko's is definitely the best vegan cream cheese I've ever had. I made a copycat recipe that's just as good. Could you send me the recipe, please? Because I've thought about trying to do it. Oh, wait, you just rewrote it. Really easy: cashews, coconut cream, salt, and a probiotic capsule. And you just blend it? Okay. I'd like to copy your comment, but it's not letting me, but I'll have to come back to it. Here we go. I'm literally copying and pasting your comment. Okay. Violife's garlic and herbs is really good. I feel like I would like that because it would hide the otherwise somewhat weird flavor. The best cream cheese alternative is the Miyoko's mozzarella. I prefer broccolini to Rob. Yeah, broccolini doesn't have the same bitterness though, which is what I like. I would love to be in the frozen pizza section, LOL. Yeah, I mean, frozen pizza, it's definitely a treat. It's not cheap. It's like you're looking at like $11 for a frozen pizza night. I tried vegan cottage cheese for the first time today by a brand called Zuger Vegan. Not good. So they don't have any other options. It's funny, like years ago or a couple of years ago, it was announced that Miyoko's was going to be coming out with a vegan cottage cheese made from watermelon seeds, and that never happened. And I wonder, it was kind of around the time when all this stuff went down. So, but I think Miyoko said she's going to have a recipe for cottage cheese in her cookbook. I never was a cottage cheese person. So I don't think that I would like any vegan cottage cheese, but I know a lot of people would love an alternative. What is your go-to breakfast? Tofu scramble, oatmeal smoothie, avocado toast? So I actually have a video on my channel. If you're curious, you can search for it, called My Weird Vegan Breakfasts, I think. And it's these two breakfasts that I used to alternate between every day. And one of them I still make all the time. I've been eating it for maybe 15 years I've been eating this for breakfast, but it's basically just toast with vegan butter, hot sauce, and nutritional yeast. It's maybe not the most complete breakfast, but it's so satisfying. But what I also do, and I have a meal prep video that I made last year that I make these in, so you can watch that if you want to know this recipe or how I do it. I make a batch of vegan breakfast burritos, and that is like my favorite ever. And then I freeze them, and then I just heat them up in the morning, and it's amazing. So that's been my go-to recently. I'm a savory breakfast person. I don't like sweet breakfast. So for me, I can't do oatmeal or smoothies. So many vegan foods are mislabeled because the mozzarella is cream cheese and their cream cheese is more like cheddar spread. Okay. Making breakfast right now: broccoli, ramen, Asian greens, etc. Healthy way to start the day. I love it. Unconventional breakfast. I talked about that in the breakfast history of breakfast video. Like, why do we only think of a certain set of foods as breakfast foods? The consistency. I also do vegan sour cream with vegan mozzarella shreds. It works for me. I was talking about Miyoko's. Just blend and let it ferment in a bowl in a dark place. Cover with clean cloth and rubber band to secure it up to 72 hours. Taste after 24 hours to your desired tanginess. I found the recipe on Pinterest. Copying that. Pasting it. Like, seriously, we would save a lot of money if we did that. If we started to make our own. Because I have Miyoko's cookbook, and that's like the one thing she doesn't give away in her cookbook is how to make the cream cheese. She talks about how to make mozzarella and I'm pretty sure butter, but she does not talk about cream cheese. Holla, hey Cinnamon, where you been? we're almost done here. You'll have to catch up. I talked about one of your topics. I also have dulse leaf seaweed in it. That sounds really healthy. What inspired you to start YouTube? Is this your first channel? How many hours do you spend making videos? Oof, loaded question. I was busy keeping it real. Sorry. No worries. You can catch up. Lots to catch up on. So more dates, more fiber. I want to answer that. Zach and I had been chatting about doing like when I hit 5,000 subscribers, doing like a 5,000 subscriber live stream and talking a little bit about more of like my history with YouTube and all of that, because it's, you know, it's a long one, but I think I'll save your questions for that, if that's okay, because I think it would be good to get into all of that on a specific live stream. But I'm copying down your questions so that I can make sure I answer all of them. Tofu never bleeds. Do you use CapCut? I have used CapCut. I was my bad answer earlier. No, it's totally fine. It's just long. I don't want to be too long-winded. I was very hesitant to CapCut for a while. So I edit in Premiere Pro. I've been editing in Premiere since 2015. So I'm very attached to it, unfortunately. Because if I added up all the money I've spent on my Premiere subscription, I would be very sad. It'd be a very sad number to see. But I have been using CapCut to edit short form stuff. I really like the transitions. It is so user friendly. It is way more like intuitive and user friendly than like the TikTok or Instagram editing, like in-app editing, even though the TikTok makes CapCut, I believe. But yeah, CapCut's amazing and I enjoy it. But I still do prefer editing on my computer. I think there's a CapCut program for computer too, though. That's the recipe. It's amazing. Use 2 mega food probiotic capsules. You can use any probiotic that's vegan friendly. Okay, good to know. False. We got another request to show the special guest. Should I for the latecomers? I think people are like, getting off work and whatnot. I love Premiere, but I have issues previewing in high quality even after I upgraded my processor. That's interesting. Huh. Are you sure you're viewing it in full quality rather than like a quarter or a half? Because it defaults to that for smoother editing. Each dairy has their own type of probiotic to make it its own. All right. We want to see the special guest one more time. Those of you who have been here since the beginning, I'm very sorry if you're sick of seeing the special guest, but there's new people and they need to see the special guest. When I switch to full quality and preview becomes choppy and unwatchable. Yeah, I can do about half and get away with it, but anything higher than that, it would be choppy. All right, guys, one more time. One more time for the latecomers. This is our watermelon that we acquired yesterday, and we're very attached to it. As you can see, it's about 4 times the size of my head, and it's about 20 pounds, and it cost $25. And we bought it from a man off the side of the road that slings watermelons out of the back of a truck that he drives down to Georgia every few weeks and fills up with watermelons and brings them back up here. And apparently these watermelons are absolutely delicious. And I don't eat watermelon. I don't like it. But Paul will be enjoying apparently all of this. I told him I thought we should get the smaller one, but he wanted to get the bigger one. He just got very excited and I can't blame him. And that's, there it is. Okay, I thought it smelled weird, but it doesn't smell like anything. Paul wanted to cut this up earlier, and I begged him not to so that I could show it on the stream. Because come on. It's a Summer Friday live stream. We got to have the watermelon. And every time ow, it literally was just like crushing my leg. The fuck. Paul says when I put it on the floor, the whole house shakes. Lots to catch up on in the chat. I missed the special guest. I missed the special guest. Bring them out. Oh my gosh. Open that guest up and suck out the seeds. What a beauty. Seated? I don't know. We're gonna find out. You should draw a face and put a hat on it. Falls at a real 20-pounder. How cute. Where's its sunglasses? I guess it's indoors, that's why. Um, I thought it was a cat or something. Yeah, it's been a good gag. We've had it going the whole live stream. We did it in the beginning, we did it in the middle, and now we did it one more time. Um, oh gosh. Non-GMO. Congrats on the new fur, baby. No fur on this baby. I just tried Basil and Bunny in Bristol, Rhode Island, and it was the bomb. Good, Cinnamon. I've had they've been at a few of the veg fests. But I don't think I've never been there in person. So good to know. Glad to know it's good. I'm gonna do a watermelon fast soon. Watermelon only? Okay, I'm not sure if you're joking or not, but if you use a drill and a sprout, you can turn it to a juice dispenser. How beautiful. You can pickle the rind. Yes, there's a restaurant, like this vegan to-go restaurant near us. We haven't ordered from them in a long time. I hope they're still around, but they did this incredible summer salad that had pickled watermelon rind in it, and it was so fucking good. It tasted like a Jolly Rancher, the pickled watermelon rind. We should definitely try that with this one. Look, seated. I prefer seated. The house shook again. When I put it down, top tips for choosing a great watermelon. Feels heavy for its size. Check. Hard when you knock on it. Check. As yellow of a spot as possible. Look for brown webbing. It's got like a yellow kind of flat part on the bottom, which I was a little wary about. Providence Vegan Deli is super dope. That's awesome, Cinnamon. Is that the new place that just opened? I mean Spout, not Sprout. Hello. We need to get a sponsor for your blazer. You mean for my good vegan news blazers? We talked about those at length earlier in the stream. You'll have to catch up. Watermelon jerky, that's a good idea. Oh my God, I gotta look up a watermelon jerky recipe. Slices on sticks. I'd love to try using the rind. Yeah, pickled rind, I think would be really good. Yes, Jolly Rancher. Indeed. Do you ever use it for fish and sushi? Oh yeah, I've seen people do that too. They make like an ahi tuna. That would be really interesting. It just depends how creative we want to get with this watermelon. Make sure the jerky has the rind in it. How come? Watermelon mojitos. Yeah, that sounds good. What we have done in the past is we do like a juice. Although I think we could do it in the blender, but we've done it in the juicer of like watermelon, lime, and ginger. And it's so fucking good. Just like a perfect summer drink, little spicy. There's a watermelon burger where the patty's the watermelon, like in Australia, huh? Freeze dried. That's how the rind company does it. Oh, when you eat the rind without noticing because it's harder to eat usually. Huh. Well, we got our work cut out for us, guys. Paul, I hope you're ready. Clear out the kitchen. Who's a good vegan YouTuber to watch on the regular? Don't say unnatural vegan. Other than totally forkable, guys, let more dates, more fiber know who your favorite YouTubers to watch. People love, my subscribers love Mike the Vegan, I think. Vegan, of course, yep. PCRM, Chef AJ, Plant Strong. When is your main trip, said Cinnamon? Good question. Not soon enough. We're going to be going up in July, later in July. Normally we go up in June and July and August, but we had a big family event in June, so we didn't go up. And I've been going crazy, especially with the heat wave. I just want to get up there. It doesn't feel like summer until we go to Maine. So later in July and then again in August. Bye Bible Dumb podcast. It's a Bible reading by vegans. Intriguing. Favorites are Totally Forkable, Thanks Zach, and Cheap Lazy Vegan. Nice. Catherine Klein, haven't even heard of her. I'm trying to think of some things that I've watched. People really like, what's his name? Who makes all the meats? I'm not even sure if he's vegan, but he makes all the vegan meats. Used to be Bite-Sized Vegan. Okay. They are hilarious. The Bible podcast. Yeah, if I go to my, let's see, if I go to my YouTube studio, I can see who my subscribers are watching, like what other channels. And it's usually like Mike the Vegan, Lifting Vegan Logic, Earthling Ed. Those are the main ones. I think Unnatural Vegan too. I have a huge vegan YouTuber list, has over 3,000 channels. Man, I didn't realize there were that many. Sauce Stash, that's what it's called. Thanks, Cinnamon. Can't stand Catherine Klein. She's spying on us. LOL. The Burger Dude. Yeah, there's a lot. And like people mentioned, Gaz Oakley for good recipes. People really like Merle O'Neill too. Mostly cooking videos. All right, guys, I think it's pizza time, but this has been so much fun. Thank you guys for joining me on this summer Friday. It had been a while since I live streamed and we were overdue. And hopefully other people will be able to catch up later. But you guys made this so fun. There's such good vibes in this chat, and I really appreciate that we were able to talk about a variety of topics in an open and non-judgmental way and share our opinions and differing opinions. And that's what's so great about this community. And yeah, I had a lot of fun. I watched Totally Forkable for the positive news. Thank you. The other vegans I watched just destroy the carnivores. Yeah, I mean, it's hard because that's a very popular people keep clicking, so people keep making them. But I'm glad you like the good vegan news. And yeah, I think the next live stream we do will probably be the 5,000 live stream, which will hopefully be coming soon. I mean, we're right around the corner from 5,000. So that will be a celebratory one, and you guys can ask questions. It'll be like, talking about YouTube and the whole journey, I guess. Everyone's favorite word, journey. Bye, Zach. Thanks so much for being here. So nice to have you here. Cinnamon, I feel complete. Thanks. Love your work, Mariel. Thank you so much, Carrie. Appreciate all of your support. Have a great weekend, everyone. Thanks for the live stream. You're so welcome. Tofu Never Bleeds. Thank you for being here. Tofu Never Bleeds. Love your content. Thank you so much. I subbed because of the news, for what it's worth. Thank you for letting me know that. I love doing good vegan news. Probably keep doing them like once a month. I feel like anything more frequently, and I'm kind of scraping for news stories. Gonna have to talk about Selena Gomez's new skincare line. If I do it too often, it's just not interesting stories. Zach said, looking forward to the 5K stream and curious if this is your first channel. It's not. It's not my first channel. It's actually my 4th channel. But you guys will have to stay tuned to hear about the other ones. We'll email you the YouTuber list if possible. You should do like a Google Doc or something that we could share with people. Paul says, bye, y'all. See you in the kitchen in a few minutes. Carrie says, sounds fun. Can't wait. All because of the various opinion pieces. Also because of the various opinion pieces. Okay, well, that's good, because that's mostly what I do, is that and good vegan news. Carrie said, thanks, everyone. Great job. Yes, great job, everybody. Great job to all of you for being civil and lovely and wonderful and funny and welcoming my guest with open arms. And we said you news stories were like, yes, always, please. That I get a lot of my stories from people sending them to me. So I really appreciate that. Always do that if you see stories that you think would be good. Um, I knew I saw you somewhere. I don't think you've probably seen my other channels, but it's on OneDrive. Feel free to share with everyone. Okay, if you send that to me, I can post it on community. Um, Bo, thanks for the stream and enjoy that gargantuan watermelon. I will maybe I'll keep you guys updated. It'll be fun. Maybe we'll do like a community carousel post of to various ways that the watermelon gets used. Sent the email with the document. Thank you. All right, everyone. Happy weekend. Hope you have a great one. Thanks again for joining, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.